Hi, I'm Frank, and today I'm going to show you how to do some basic voltage measurements using PXI Oscilloscopes and InstrumentStudio. To do that, I'm connected to a PXI chassis that includes an arbitrary waveform generator, and that's going to be looped back to channel 0 of my oscilloscope. So let's get started in InstrumentStudio. Since I'm only using 2 instruments in this demonstration, I'm going to create a manual layout that just has those 2 instruments in it. And since the oscilloscope is what I'm really going to be interacting with, I'll put that on the large panel. And the waveform generator, I'll put on a small panel. And that will utilize the majority of my screen so that I can see the oscilloscope while still giving me access to that waveform generator. All right, so the first step is to configure the output from my waveform generator. So I will select a 1 kilohertz sine wave. And then I'll also specify the amplitude. And I'm going to give this a DC offset of 2 volts. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and turn that output on. And now I can start seeing some data on the oscilloscope. But first, I need to match the input impedance of my oscilloscope with the expected load impedance for the waveform generator. And that's easy enough to do. In the oscilloscope's channel settings, I'll go here and select input impedance of 50 ohms, and that matches what the waveform generator expects. Okay, so I see a signal on my oscilloscope plot, but what I want to do first is zoom in or zoom out so I can get the whole signal on the screen. I can do that with the drop-down menus for time per division and for volts per division on this channel, or I can use my mouse's scroll wheel to give me the best view of this signal. All right, so that looks good for me. I'm going to start taking some measurements now, and I'll start by using cursors. So I'm going to select voltage cursors. There we go. And put cursor 1 at my minimum, and cursor 2 for me to find the amplitude of this signal. And I'm seeing delta Y of about 4.99 volts, which is what I would expect from my waveform generator, giving me a 5 volt peak-to-peak amplitude. Okay, now if I wanted to insert this into a test report, for example, it's really quick in InstrumentStudio to just capture a screenshot, and that'll go onto my clipboard, and I can just paste that into my report. Now, we also have in InstrumentStudio a measurements table that will let you add more measurements than just that amplitude that I just did. So I can add peak to peak, maximum, minimum, and RMS. And now you see that those measurements are populated in this table. It's going to show me the live values as well as calculate some statistics on the historical running values. And of course, I can always reset those if I want to start over. All right, one last thing is I want to view the AC characteristics of the signal without that DC offset added in. Going back into my channel settings, I'll switch the coupling to AC. And there we go. There's the signal without that DC offset. So in this video, we saw how to do a loopback test from a waveform generator into an oscilloscope and take some basic voltage measurements using InstrumentStudio. Thanks for joining.